In the heart of Atlanta, two women lived completely different lives. On one side of town, Madeline Rose, a wealthy businesswoman, owned several fashion boutiques. She was known for her elegance, her mansion, and her only daughter Vanessa, who was pampered with every luxury life could afford. On the other side, in a modest neighborhood, lived Gloria Brown, a hard-working single mother. Gloria was a nurse assistant who spent long nights at the hospital just to make ends meet. Her daughter, Tasha, was bright, kind-hearted, and used to sacrifice without complaint. The two women never crossed paths, until fate did something unusual. It was a Saturday afternoon when Madeline decided to host a charity event at a community center. Gloria attended with Tasha, hoping to get free books for her daughter. Madeline's eyes immediately caught Tasha. She was polite, well-mannered, and had a grace that surprised everyone. Madeline, though smiling on the outside, secretly compared Tasha to her own daughter Vanessa, who at that very moment was complaining loudly about not having the right designer shoes. That day, Madeline thought, what if I had a daughter like that poor girl? Someone who understands value, not vanity. The thought haunted Madeline for weeks. One evening, she invited Gloria into her office under the pretense of offering a scholarship for Tasha. But her true intention was darker. She leaned across her mahogany desk and whispered, "Gloria, what if our daughters were switched? Imagine Tasha living the life she deserves in luxury, while Vanessa learns humility in your home." Gloria was shocked. "You mean trade our children like their clothes?" Madeline smirked. "It's not a trade, it's an opportunity. Both will gain something. Think about it." Gloria left disturbed, but poverty gnawed at her thoughts. That night, Gloria stared at her sleeping daughter. Tasha's shoes had holes in them. The fridge was almost empty. She remembered Tasha asking, "Mama, why don't we ever go on vacation like the kids in my class?" Gloria's heart ached. Slowly, Madeline's words began to sound like a blessing in disguise. "If my child can live better, maybe it's worth it," she whispered to herself. After days of inner conflict, Gloria met Madeline at a cafe. Her voice trembled. "All right, I'll do it. But only if you promise to love her like your own." Madeline's lips curved into a victorious smile. "Agreed. From today, Vanessa is yours, and Tasha is mine." They shook hands, sealing the most unthinkable pact. The swap happened quietly one Sunday evening. Gloria packed Tasha's small bag and kissed her forehead. "Remember, Mama loves you. Always." Tasha, confused, hugged her tightly. "Why am I staying here, Mama?" Gloria forced a smile. "Because this is your new chance, baby." As Tasha walked into Madeline's mansion, Gloria held Vanessa's hand, tears running down her cheeks. Vanessa's new life hit her like a storm. Gone were the maids, the car rides, the endless shopping sprees. Instead, she found herself in Gloria's tiny apartment, where she was asked to wash dishes and share a room. She screamed, "I'm not living like this. Do you know who I am?" Gloria crossed her arms. "From now on, you're just a child like every other. Here you'll learn." Vanessa hated it. Meanwhile, Tasha couldn't believe her new world. Silk sheets, sparkling chandeliers, designer dresses. It was everything she had dreamed of. But it wasn't easy. Vanessa's friends mocked her for not knowing fashion brands. The maids whispered that she was different. Still, Tasha remained humble. She said thank you to everyone, even the chauffeur. Slowly, people in the mansion began to admire her warmth. On Monday, both girls faced new schools. Tasha entered an elite academy, where students raised eyebrows at her thrift store accent. Yet, when she aced her first math test, teachers began praising her intelligence. Vanessa, dropped into a public school, found herself struggling. Kids didn't care about her Gucci bags, which she no longer had. They only cared about respect, which she hadn't learned to give. Gloria tried to mother Vanessa, but the girl resisted every rule. She refused chores, insulted neighbors, and cried every night for her real mom. Gloria wondered if she had made the worst mistake of her life. Madeline enjoyed Tasha's presence, but something unexpected happened. She began to see herself through Tasha's eyes. The mansion felt empty despite the wealth. She realized love mattered more than money. For the first time, she questioned her motives. Over months, Tasha softened Madeline's heart. She asked simple questions like, "Why do you eat alone?" and "Don't you miss having family dinners?" Madeline had no answers. For the first time in years, she cooked at home, with Tasha by her side. In the rough streets, Vanessa slowly transformed. When Gloria couldn't afford her birthday cake, Vanessa cried, but not from anger. For the first time, she understood sacrifice. One night she whispered, "Gloria, I miss my old life, but I think I needed this." Gloria hugged her tightly. The girls began to question why they were where they were. Tasha overheard maids whispering about the swap. Vanessa's classmates teased her, calling her the rich girl gone poor. Suspicion grew in both their hearts. One evening, Tasha stormed into Madeline's study. "Tell me the truth. Why am I here? Why did you take me from my mother?" Madeline froze. Her silence was the answer. The same night, Vanessa demanded answers from Gloria. "Why did you take me in? Where is my real mom?" Both women realized the secret could no longer stay hidden. Madeline and Gloria finally met face to face with both daughters present. Tears filled the room as the truth poured out. You gave me away?" Tasha whispered, her voice breaking. "And you traded me like I was nothing?" Vanessa shouted, glaring at Madeline. The room fell silent with pain. The girls refused to speak to either woman for weeks. They felt betrayed and abandoned. But slowly, through letters, apologies, and shared moments, healing began. Gloria promised Tasha she only wanted her to live better. Madeline admitted she was wrong to think money could replace love. Months later, the families gathered for dinner. For the first time, they sat together. No lies, no masks. Tasha said, "I may have lived in a mansion, but what I missed most was my mama's hug." Vanessa added softly, "And I may have lived in the hood, but I found out what real strength is." Both hugged their real mothers again, and the circle of love finally closed. Madeline and Gloria decided to keep both girls close. Tasha moved back with Gloria, but Madeline funded her education. Vanessa returned to her mother but often visited Gloria, who had grown fond of her. The bond between the two families became unbreakable. Even though the families reconciled, wounds didn't vanish overnight. Tasha often woke up crying, remembering the moment her mother let her go. Vanessa, too, had nightmares about being abandoned. Gloria and Madeline tried to comfort them, but guilt weighed heavily on both women. The past clung to them like a shadow. The story of the swap leaked out. Neighbors whispered behind Gloria's back. How could she give away her own child? At church, some women shook their heads at Madeline. With all that money, she played God. Both mothers faced judgment from the community, but they kept their heads high. Tasha began to rebel in school. Once the humble, obedient child, now she snapped at teachers and skipped classes. One day she shouted at Gloria, "You gave me away once. What makes you think I even belong here?" Gloria collapsed into tears, but she didn't give up on her daughter. Vanessa faced a different battle. Back in her old rich school, she no longer fit in. She couldn't connect with shallow conversations about designer bags or private jets. One of her old friends sneered, "You're not one of us anymore. You've been living in the ghetto." Vanessa clenched her fists but walked away, realizing she had outgrown them. Madeline's empire began to crumble. A bad investment drained her finances, and for the first time, she tasted the fear of losing everything. In her emptiness, she confessed to Tasha, "Baby, I thought money was everything. But now I see without love, it's dust." Tasha softened. For the first time, she held Madeline's hand without resentment. Gloria, inspired by her mistakes, joined community meetings and started counseling single mothers. She told them, "Don't ever think your poverty makes you less of a mother. Your love is worth more than gold." Her words touched many women, but deep inside, she still prayed Tasha would forgive her fully one day. Despite everything, Vanessa and Tasha grew closer. They called each other sisters, sharing stories about both sides of life, glamour and struggle. One night, Vanessa told her, "You know, maybe God made us swap so we could understand each other." Tasha nodded. "And so we could understand our moms, too." Both girls entered a city-wide school debate competition, different schools, but same stage. Vanessa argued passionately about why love is greater than wealth. Tasha countered with why sacrifice defines parenthood. In the end, they tied for first place. The audience gave them a standing ovation. Their speeches went viral online. One day, social services showed up at Gloria's door. Someone had reported her for child endangerment during the swap. In court, she stood trembling before the judge. Madeline shocked everyone by testifying in her favor. Gloria only acted out of desperation and love. "If anyone is guilty, it's me." The judge dismissed the case, and Gloria wept in Madeline's arms. Madeline sold one of her boutiques to save her workers from unemployment. She downsized to a smaller home, shocking her wealthy friends. When asked why, she smiled. "Luxury doesn't raise children. Love does." Her reputation changed from the arrogant fashion queen to the mother who learned humility. At 17, Vanessa met George, a young man from Gloria's neighborhood. He wasn't rich but hard-working. When Madeline found out, she was furious. "You can't date someone beneath you." Vanessa stood her ground. "After all I've been through, I know character is more important than class." Tasha, too, faced young love, but with heartbreak. A boy she trusted only liked her because of her connection to Madeline's wealth. When she found out, she cried bitterly in Gloria's arms. For once, mother and daughter found healing in shared pain. Gloria fell sick, chronic exhaustion from years of overwork. Doctors warned she might collapse permanently if she didn't rest. Tasha panicked. "Mama, don't leave me. I already lost you once." Madeline stepped in, paying for Gloria's treatment. For the first time, both mothers worked together for each other. That Christmas, they celebrated together. No mansions, no big gifts, just food, laughter, and prayers. Vanessa gave Gloria a handmade scarf. Tasha gave Madeline a framed photo of all four of them smiling. It was the first holiday where everyone truly felt like family. Tasha received a scholarship to Howard University. Vanessa got into Spelman College. Both were excited but nervous. Madeline and Gloria stood proudly together at the acceptance ceremonies, cheering louder than anyone else. Before leaving for college, Tasha asked Gloria, "Mama, do you regret it? Giving me away that day?" Gloria's eyes filled with tears. "Every single night. But I would rather cut out my own heart than lose you again." Tasha finally forgave her fully, hugging her so tight that Gloria cried out loud. At Spelman, Vanessa faced whispers about her scandal. Some girls mocked her, but she stood tall, giving a speech during orientation. "I was swapped at birth by choice, but I gained 2 mothers and a sister. Judge me if you want, but I wouldn't trade my story for anyone's." She got a standing ovation. Gloria and Madeline decided to launch a foundation together, the Daughter's Promise. It supported poor single mothers and provided scholarships for underprivileged kids. Their past mistake became the reason hundreds of lives changed. Tasha and Vanessa, though in different colleges, called each other every night. They laughed, cried, and shared every milestone. Years later, both women graduated, side by side, their mothers crying in the audience. Tasha gave her valedictorian speech. "I once lived in two different worlds, but I realized love is the bridge between them." Vanessa added, "And I once thought I was lost, but I found myself in the family that chose me, both of them." Gloria and Madeline, holding hands, whispered in unison, "Our daughters taught us what real motherhood is." The story that began with betrayal ended with healing, love, and legacy. Years later, both girls looked back with gratitude. Tasha became a lawyer, fighting for underprivileged children. Vanessa became a social worker, teaching spoiled kids humility through her own story. And both mothers learned that wealth means nothing without love. When Tasha had her first courtroom internship, Vanessa was the first to cheer. When Vanessa started a youth mentorship group, Tasha was her biggest fan. The foundation, the Daughter's Promise, grew beyond Atlanta. It began sponsoring hundreds of girls across America. Newspapers praised Madeline and Gloria as unlikely partners who turned a scandal into salvation. But behind the smiles, both women sometimes still felt guilty for their past decision. They carried that weight silently. Tasha, now a young lawyer, took on her first major case, defending a teenage girl whose mother had almost lost custody due to poverty. Standing in the courtroom, she argued fiercely. Poverty does not mean neglect. Every child deserves the love of their mother, regardless of her bank account. She won the case, and when the judge ruled in favor of the girl staying with her mother, Tasha burst into tears, remembering her own story. Vanessa, working in social services, launched a program for teenagers struggling with identity. She often told her story at workshops. "I lived in both riches and rags. What I learned is simple. You are not your circumstance. You are your choices." Her honesty drew troubled youth closer to her. They saw her not as a perfect role model, but as someone who understood pain. Despite their bond, Tasha and Vanessa had their first real fight. Tasha accused Vanessa of being too soft with kids who needed discipline, while Vanessa snapped that Tasha was too harsh. For weeks, they didn't speak. Gloria worried. Madeline prayed. Finally, one evening, Tasha showed up at Vanessa's apartment with takeout food. She whispered, "We're sisters. I can't lose you over this." Vanessa hugged her. "We can disagree, but never separate." Madeline collapsed during a foundation event. Doctors diagnosed her with a heart condition. As she lay in the hospital bed, she confessed to Gloria, "If I don't make it, promise me you'll watch over Vanessa." Gloria held her hand. "You're not going anywhere. We both need you." The daughters cried by her bedside, promising to make her proud. Gloria was awarded Community Mother of the Year. Standing on stage, she gave a trembling speech. "Years ago, I made the worst decision of my life. I gave away my daughter. But through pain, I found redemption. And I learned that mistakes don't define us. What we do after does." The crowd stood and applauded. Vanessa and George, the boy she had defended years earlier, announced their wedding. At the ceremony, Tasha stood proudly as maid of honor. Gloria walked down the aisle with Vanessa, while Madeline gave her away, both mothers sharing the moment without jealousy. As Vanessa and George exchanged vows, Gloria and Madeline held hands again, crying tears of joy. Years later, Tasha found love too, with David, a fellow lawyer who admired her strength. Unlike her past heartbreak, David truly respected her. On their wedding day, Vanessa returned the honor and stood as her maid of honor. Both mothers walked her down the aisle together, proving that family didn't have to fit traditional rules. As time passed, Vanessa had 2 children, and Tasha 1 daughter. The cousins grew up not knowing rivalry, but unity. They were raised on the story of their mothers, the daughters who had been swapped but never lost. Gloria often rocked the grandchildren to sleep, whispering, "Love is richer than gold." Madeline, with her gray hair shining, added, "And forgiveness is stronger than pride." Years later, at a grand anniversary celebration of The Daughter's Promise, both families gathered. Hundreds of children and mothers cheered for the women who had changed lives. Tasha gave the keynote speech. "We were once broken by choices made for us. But we rose, we healed, and we gave back. This is our legacy, not just survival, but transformation." Vanessa stepped forward, holding her sister's hand. "We are proof that family is not only blood. It is love, sacrifice, forgiveness, and second chances." The crowd erupted in applause. Gloria and Madeline sat side by side, proud tears running down their cheeks. For once, there was no guilt, only peace. The story that began with a painful swap ended with a stronger family, bound by love and forever remembered as women who turn mistakes into miracles.